Hi there, guys. I wanted to share with you, this is a sample interview I did with a colleague of mine um, about my topic that I've been sharing with you, online video and advertising with children. For reference, here's my little plan. I had my research questions up there. Green are the questions I wanted to know about. Tell me about your kids in online video. And then you can see some blue there. There's some just follow-ups I had planned. I got through all of this. You can think of it as kind of one section for an interview that you guys are doing. Again, my research question is really how do online video producers and online video platforms advertise to children? And what does that mean? What are some of the dangers involved in some of that? So think about that as you watch what I'm asking uh, and look for other strategies that I use. How do I follow up? How are my questions open ended to get that? Again, this is just a model to kind of give you some ideas about how you can be doing this as you're preparing to interview your own interviewees. I hope you enjoy. Thanks.
Well, I am, again, thank you for meeting with me. As you know, kind of, I'm, uh, I'm in a class about online video, and all of us are doing our own research projects to make a video presentation. And my topic is about advertising in online videos, but especially with children. So I have some questions for you and your experiences with that I'd like to talk about.
Great.
Um, And I guess just to kind of start off, if you could just tell me briefly about your kids in online video.
So I have three kids, and they're all under the age of 6, and 4.
Okay.
And I guess like most kids, they do a lot more with video in general and online than, of course, we ever did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they've been using a lot of video recently during the COVID-19
Uh-huh.
quarantine. Some of it's what they're being asked to watch by their teachers at school, and some
Mm-hmm.
of it's just stuff that they like to watch on their own. But I can see from them and from my nieces and nephews that YouTube especially is one of their main sources of media,
Uh-huh.
which is an obvious observation, but
Uh-huh.
that's something that certainly wasn't available to kids in
Yeah.
our era. And
Yeah.
I have to think about what they're watching because I don't know what's going to be advertised with it. I can't
Mm-hmm.
preview everything that they watch. So that's something that I think about in terms of how they're accessing YouTube
Yeah.
and what they're watching.
Have you ever noticed, or do you have any, what's your idea of like what kinds of advertisements they see on YouTube or other online video platforms?
Well, I think generally that the advertisements are geared towards kids and their
Mm-hmm.
parents. They much in the same way that advertising worked for children's programming on TV for many years, where if they wanted to introduce a new toy or a new game, those kinds of things might pop up
Mm-hmm.
in the first 15-second video or advertisement that they have to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, a lot of it might be just related content
Mm-hmm.
that not necessarily something that they're selling as a product, but if they're watching a Sesame Street video, then there might be a video for another similar kind of children's
Yeah.
content for them to watch. So I think the goal of any advertising is for the kids to say, I want that
Yeah.
after whether or not it's more programming, which has more advertising, or a product that they could talk about with their mom and dad. I haven't
Do
really
any
been.
examples of that? Like, have they asked you to buy something or to watch something that you remember from what you pretty sure they saw on a YouTube ad or something?
Yes, yeah. My 4-year-old daughter actually seems to be more vulnerable or susceptible. She's the
Uh-huh.
one who asks about things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if there's like little figurines that she likes to play with,
Mm-hmm.
she's seen advertisements for those, or even if she'll see something for like a bouncy ball that is the size of a human that
Mm-hmm.
she'll think is cool. She asked me about that a few weeks ago. She saw
Uh,
some advertisement for that and said, she showed it to me and said, could we get this?
oh yeah. Uh,
So,
that's really interesting. What let's stay with that. Sorry. Well, I guess my next question then is, have you noticed any particular strategies or things that the advertisements do that seem to be especially effective?
I guess what comes to mind is that the advertisements include video footage of other kids having a great time
Okay.
if they're playing with a product.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Other than that, I think, there's recognizable characters,
Okay.
like Disney characters or other characters from TV shows that they watch, whether it's in a product or another content that they could watch, that's
Uh-huh.
something that grabs their attention. They want some familiarity with, the kids can say, oh, I know, that's
Yeah.
Elsa from Frozen. And
Yeah.
that's why I want to buy those bubbles, because they're Elsa bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, other than that, if there's new things, the kind of toys that they play with, then it generally tends to be the kids having a great time, generally outside in a nice green open space,
Yeah.
playing with that thing, and it makes it look like fun, which it might be.
Uh-huh. It reminds me of the classic beer commercial strategy. Uh, have you noticed, so one thing, I have a daughter who watches obviously lots of video online, and right now she's going through a phase, she's into arts and craftsy videos, but some of them I can tell that there is a product like maybe Oreos that is somehow involved in the thing that they're making. Have you noticed these kind of, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know for sure, but it seems like it's sponsored content, right? The amount of times they mention the name brand of something, or they reference other videos that reference other products that could be brands within the same company. Have you noticed anything like that in the videos that you could
So
watch?
both my boys are really into Legos,
Mm-hmm.
and so they like to build their own Legos from the Lego sets that we buy them from the Lego company.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's a whole kind of industry of YouTube videos around Legos, which are either meant to help the kids build what they're supposed to build or do something new, as
Mm-hmm.
kind of tutorial videos on, like, if you want to do this with this set, or you want to do something new, design your own this or that, then it's kind of a how-to video that's not necessarily from the Lego company, but it's someone's channel,
Uh-huh.
that somebody who might be really good at building Legos, or good at teaching kids how to build Legos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the pricing scheme of that is. I assume that someone with a YouTube channel with a lot of subscribers would get a lot of advertising. So at some
Mm-hmm.
level, you have to be good at what you're doing online, in an instructional tutorial video, because they're not really selling you anything. They're not saying,
Yeah.
buy this at
Buy
the
this
end,
set.
or to
Uh-huh.
finish this project, you need this. Most of them are just like, here's how to do this, but the kids like watching it. And so
Mm-hmm.
they're more likely to follow that person, or to
Mm-hmm.
want to watch more videos by that person.
Yeah. Um,
And
what
then to go
about,
back to a previous point, like a lot of the Legos are tied into Disney characters, or
yeah.
Marvel Universe characters, and
Mm-hmm.
people they know. So there's like this symbiotic
Mm-hmm.
synthesis between familiarity and things they like to do and how to do them.
Yeah. I just thought of this, but I've done some research on one particular genre of online video targeted toward children and I guess for all adults, but there's kids versions of this category, are unboxing videos where somebody, it could be a child, it could be an adult, get toys and open the toys and talk about the toys. What about, any of your kids ever watch any of those?
I don't, they may have, I think, as like a way to set up. I mean, I've definitely looked at those kinds of videos around Christmas time. The classic example might be, I remember building like a kitchen set for my 4-year-old boy who liked to be around the kitchen and cook things. So, this set came in like 1,000 pieces. And so I had to
Uh-huh.
go on YouTube and figure out how to put it together. Is that what you're talking about? Or is there a different cottage industry?
Those are
in
kind of how
boxing?
to, but some of them are like, there's two basic genres. One is just see what it looks like. So if you buy this thing,
Uh,
and Legos might be a good example because there's a lot of stuff in a Lego box, right? You can see all the different pieces and the different bags are in. But other things, and my son has kind of watched these. It's from a TV show, and they have these figurines, but the figurines open and they fold. So it's a way to get an idea of size and what kinds of things the different toys can do, but they literally take them out of a box and look at them. And then there's also review products where a little more in depth, and in a traditional unboxing video, they just give their impression, but in a review, they might, be more subjective or analytic. And is this a good thing or not?
So now you've jogged my memory that not as much my kids, but one of my nephews is into Hatchimals.
Okay.
Which is kind of this cutesy little, I don't even know, figurines. And he, at some point, he was watching tons of videos that I think were unboxing videos where they just take them out. They kind of set them up in an appealing fashion, maybe do a little like imaginary play with them for a little bit. And it's a short video. And then the next one is, the next set of Hatchimals.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the word was to describe it, but I think that's probably it.
Well, I think, and this is not exact information, but like one of the most popular YouTubers in the whole world is like a 7-year-old kid who just opens toys, and he has like 1 billion followers, and he probably makes $1 gazillion a month opening toy boxes. And I'm sure the toy companies are sending him stuff. Okay. And then kind of the final thing that I would like to talk about is just kind of how you view your role as a parent in this situation. Do you ever talk to your kids about advertisements on online videos or any type of advertisement?
I don't know that maybe I'm a bad parent, but I don't know that I proactively have discussions with them about what they're watching online. I think my wife and I are pretty good about one of us being around when they're on their devices or when they're setting up on something to watch. I guess most of the conversations that we do have are around advertisements are based on something that they see and bring to us. And that's becomes a chance for us to evaluate what they're seeing. It's usually something fairly harmless, or to intervene if we need to. I guess from a broader perspective, we do talk to them about things that we think are inappropriate or things that might make them uncomfortable, and that's always something that they can talk to us about. Fortunately, I think at their age, I think our main concern is not around like what they're viewing, but how long they're viewing things unsupervised, and kind of controlling the input into what they're viewing. But it's more around like how much screen time should they have every day. And then we're always there at the setup of like, what are you going to be watching? Is it a show? And if it's on YouTube, like we kind of want to know what it is, versus streaming something on Netflix is less risky because there aren't advertisements and there's some parental controls that are involved. But my brother has teenage daughters, and I know that there's a different set of concerns and challenges for advertising to kids that age. So I'm not looking forward to that.
Well, and the research that I've done has shown that, don't feel like you're being a bad parent, but parents across the board tend to not focus on advertising in general, but also especially with online video. And one interesting thing that I found is that, and this is probably true of all media, television shows, traditional TV shows, and different things, is that adults assume that their children view advertisements similar to the way that they do as adults. But of course, this isn't true. And not really leading to a question there, but that this is the area of advertisements online video is not something that most people think about, certainly not.
Yeah, I think we can't assume that, like you said, that they're viewing it the same way that we are, or that the type of advertising is even the same as, the traditional media. So I probably need to think more about what they're viewing. And
I probably do too. Thank you for the time. Is there anything else that you would like to share related to online video and your kids?
no, I think that I talked somewhat about the pitfalls or concerns or whatever, but generally I think that there's a lot of great stuff out there that they use to kind of enhance their learning, or to help them to do things that they want to do that aren't really based in the internet world. Like I said, with Legos or building science projects outside, those kinds of resources are available for them, and I think that's generally a good thing. But it comes with it more vigilance about what advertising might be embedded in it.
Well, yeah, another thing I read, it was in the New York Times, they said this, because of COVID-19, the screen wars are over. Screens have won. And I think it might seem like kind of a scary revelation, but as a parent with young children, and there's always, with anything, you need moderation and you need to monitor it. But I think there's a lot of positive benefits about all the things that kids can learn about from online video.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you again.
Sure. My pleasure.
Recording.